This Week in Connecticut with Dennis House starts now.
Good morning. It is Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. I'm Dennis House. Straight ahead, Senator Chris Murphy is up for re-election with two Republicans battling over who will face him in November. We met Gerry Smith earlier this month. Today, we will talk with Hartford businessman Matt Corey just weeks before they face each other in the Republican Senate primary. Also, outfitting veterans as they re-enter the workforce. Tony and Tara Costanzo of Costanzo Clothing are here to talk Save a Suit and why this initiative is so meaningful to them. A copperhead bites a dog in Connecticut. Summer can mean snakes. We'll get the skinny on serpents from herpetologist Sarah Horwitz. And the Travelers Championship wraps up today. But what do you really know about Travelers, the company? But first, the lead. Today, the race for the U.S. Senate to represent Connecticut in Washington. Well, we know that Senator Richard Blumenthal will serve alongside perhaps Senator Chris Murphy if he's reelected. He's running for a third term. We do not know who Murphy will be facing in November because Republicans have a primary in August between two candidates. 2 weeks ago in this program, we met Gerry Smith. Today, the other candidate, Matt Corey. And with us now is Matt Corey, candidate for U.S. Senate. Mr. Corey, good to see you here in the program.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
So you've run for Congress and Senate before.
Yes.
Why Senate again?
Senator Murphy's been down here too long, 13 years down in Washington, Dennis, and he's hurting the citizens of the state of Connecticut and the country with his policies.
Why do you think so?
Well, President Biden is out of his words, President Biden is the face of the Democratic Party, the direction the Democratic Party wants to go in. And so you see no tax cuts in the future, a $5 trillion tax increase. Senator Murphy's not for any expenses cuts. It's all about taxes. We cannot run an economy. We cannot afford anything else. Energy policies are hurting people that just go to the gas stations. You go to the grocery stores, 20 to 30% higher prices. My staff and my business is feeling it on both sides of the bar. Food costs are up for small businesses. You're just looking at more tax increases. He wants the President Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act to expire. It's going to increase taxes on families. We cannot afford that. We need to have growth and bright energy policies to expand Connecticut.
In order to face Senator Murphy, you're going to have to beat Gerry Smith. We had him on a few weeks ago, who was the first selectman of Beacon Falls. You'll face him in a primary. In your judgment, why are you a better candidate for the Senate than he is?
He was handed the football, Dennis, and I haven't seen him enter the field yet. So if he's not going to make the case why Senator Murphy shouldn't deserve another 6 years, then he needs to step aside. I'm the candidate to do that, and I have been making the case. I've ran in congressional races before. I may not have won it, but you don't lose unless you quit, and I haven't quit. So that's how much I care about my country and I care about the state of Connecticut.
And as you look between you and Mr. Smith, what is the biggest difference between the two of you think?
Once again, Dennis,
in terms of policy.
I couldn't tell you. What I heard from him on your show here is he got a AA budget rating for the town of Beacon Falls. From what I heard, he hasn't voted in 2020 for either the President Trump or for George Logan, who was running in that race for that matter. But I have no idea what his policies are, as I couldn't tell you what the difference is because I haven't seen anything put out from him.
What have you learned from running for Senate in the 2018 and from watching the most recent race in 2022 when Leora Levy lost to Senator Blumenthal?
Listen, we live in a very tough state. We have to convince the voters that the policies that Democrats have are not working for the citizens of the state of Connecticut. With the second highest energy crisis in the country here, we are paying extraordinary, and it affects businesses. We're paying so much for energy, and that affects small businesses, and they're able to hire. We're on a global market here in the state of Connecticut, and so we need to compete on a global market, and we're not able to do that under these Democratic policies.
I want to ask you a couple of questions about former President Trump that I asked Mr. Smith, and that is, number one, do you believe he was wrongly convicted?
I believe that they're weaponizing the justice system against President Trump. And if you're going to ask me if I support President Trump, I do support President Trump. I support his policies overseas. I support peace around the world, Dennis. I support a secure border. I support law enforcement. I support the rule of law. I support an economic growth for this country. And I haven't seen that coming from this administration.
But Leora Levy embraced him in 2022. She lost badly. Do you believe that embracing him will hurt you?
The country has changed, Dennis. If you're looking at personalities, then we're not going to win. We're not going to win this race at all. President Trump has proven we have two records We have President Biden's record, and we have President Trump's record. The American people can, from the famous words of Ronald Reagan, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? We are not. I would say that again from 6 years ago. What is the biggest thing that Senator Murphy wants to pass right now? A loneliness act. You know who's lonely, Dennis? The woman that lost her daughter in Norwich. The other woman that just was murdered and raped, and her 5 kids are lonely. The Lakin Riley, who was jogging in a park by herself. Those are people that are lonely. Those are the people that Senator Murphy is saying that they're safe to be around. Illegal immigrants are safe to be around. There is no way that is possible, and I support the rule of law, and I support President Trump.
If you are fortunate to win the primary and to win over Senator Murphy in the fall, what's the first thing you'll do in Washington as a U.S. Senator representing Connecticut?
How about bring some optimism down there, Dennis? When you hear Senator Murphy come back, and it's about pessimism, and it's about his failed border bill, instead of taking responsibility, even Democrats voted against it, instead of taking responsibility for your failures in Washington and blaming them on Republicans, step up, renegotiate, go down there and do right by the citizens of the state of Connecticut. And he's not doing that.
Matt Corey, he's a candidate for U.S. Senate. We'll see you again in this program and in a debate, we hope.
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it.
We have much more ahead this Sunday. Later, snakes, suits, and getting to know the travelers beyond the Premier Golf Championship. You're watching This Week in Connecticut. We'll be back after these messages.